Private School for Girls. And let's start a new lesson for today. It's for Module 2, Lesson 12, Writing 2B, Part 2, Student Book page 32 and 33, and your workbook page 24 and 25. As usual, we will start with our value. Our value for today is honesty. Honesty is the best policy. Do you know that honesty is something that you can present for yourself, for your community, for our country, Qatar. Qatar really need your honest. Okay, you should be honest with yourself and with others to feel happiness. Now, we will start with our objective for our lesson. We have two main objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to, hopefully, you will be able to develop the given aspects about compare and contrast essay and plan and write a compare and contrast topic essay about self-study and group study. Let's start with the first objective for our lesson today. It's to develop the given aspects about compare and contrast topic. Let's start with the exercise G at your student book page 32 and 33. Read the writing task below and underline the keywords or phrases, then answer these questions. You can pause your video, then underline the keywords and phrases first, then take your time to answer the question on your topic. The topic is, some people prefer to study alone, while others believe that studying in a group is more effective. Write an essay comparing and contrasting these study methods. Use example to support your arguments. Now, let's underline the keywords for our writing topic. It's study alone versus studying in a group. Then you are going to write a compare and contrast about studying alone or studying in a group. Then we have compare and contrast essay. And you are going to make examples to support your argument. This is the underlying keywords or phrases that you need to focus on them when you want to write about any topic as a compare and contrast one. Now, what is the topic of discussion? What is the topic of discussion? Right. It's studying alone versus studying in groups. Thank you. What have you been requested to do? Write an essay comparing and contrasting studying alone versus studying in groups. Number 3. What writing style should you use? Good. Formal writing, that means you are going to use formal language. It means you should avoid using abbreviation. Good. You should use passive voice, indirect question, etc. You should be objective. You should be on your topic or your subject. You should be neutral. It means don't express your opinion. To be neutral, don't express your opinion. Thank you very much. Now, the table below provides different aspects that can be covered when comparing and contrasting self-study and group study. Brainstorm the different aspects listed in the table below and write some keywords or phrases next to each one. Then decide which 3 aspects to develop in the main body. Like we have many aspects to compare and contrast, like learning style, convention, then subject matter, skills developed, efficiency, motivation. Now, look, this is a suggested answer for your keywords that you can add for learning style like social or linguistic. Then you have about convince. It's like flexibility, location, personalized study environment, and practical and impractical one. Like about subject matter, like memorization or process. And like skill development, you can say communication, that you can communicate with others, stress management, teamwork, that you can be a member of a team, critical thinking, or self-discipline. About efficiency, you can scan wide range of topic, clarification, and fewer distraction. About motivation, inspire, put things off, or you can work individual or work in a group effort. And now, write a compare and contrast plan about the study methods by completing the blanks in your workbook on page 24. Now we will start with our planning, and let's start. How can we start the plan? This is your plan at your workbook at page 24. Study the plan and compare and contrast essay. Take your time to continue with completing your plan first. Like you are going to talk, what are you comparing? Then you are going to talk about the aspects of, comparison here, aspect 1, 2, and 3. Then for the main body paragraphs, you are going to talk about the point of comparison 1, the first point of comparison, and your example or justification. Second paragraph, you are going to talk about point of comparison, the second point of comparison, and you talk about your example or your justification. For paragraph 3, for the main body, you talk about the final point of comparison or the third point of comparison and justify your answer with example and giving similarities and differences. Then you make a summary for comparison you made. Like this is a sample to write about what are the similarities between studying alone and studying in groups. You have to decide what are the main aspects you are going to use. You can pause your video and start writing your plan first. Then you can compare between your own plan and that one. This is the plan for comparative and compare and contrast essay. For the introduction, what are you comparing studying alone and studying in a group, compare and contrast? Then what are the main aspects of comparison? You can say efficiency, conventions, skills or skill development, okay? Then for the main body, or the first point of comparison is efficiency, or efficiency as you like, efficiency. Then the similarities, more control over pace, and the differences, wider range of topics. The second one in paragraph 2, conventions. Then you have greater flexibility and practical for those on the campus. Number 3, the point of comparisons about skills development, it's self-discipline and the difference part of a team. Now about the conclusion, both self-study and in-group studying are useful, okay? Now, let's start with how can we write a compare and contrast essay about the study methods by completing the workbook at page 25. This is, before you write your own essay, you should focus on some points. Read the writing task in activity, okay? D again, and write and the tab, then do on page 24 and 26 of the workbook to plan and write your essay. Before writing your own essay, you should plan carefully for it to find what is the main topic for you and the three main points or the three main aspects of comparison. And now you should focus on these points. Please concentrate while you are writing your own topic. When writing a compare and contrast essay, the first topic or the first point today, write an introduction which paragraphs the question, paraphrase the questions and clearly tells your reader what the essay will be about. Then it means you should introduce your topic for the first paragraph. To introduce your topic, to talk about what are you going to do, compare and contrast between what and what, okay? Number two, organize your essay into paragraphs, each with a separate idea. You are going to divide your essay into 5 paragraphs, introduction, 3 main body paragraphs, and conclusion. Then number 3, use topic sentence to introduce the central idea of each paragraph. This is about your main body paragraph. But the main body paragraph especially, you need to introduce a central idea for each paragraph. Number 4, expand your ideas by explaining them clearly and providing example. When you talk about the main aspect of comparison as number 1, you need to explain it and provide example. Write in a formal style and don't use abbreviation or short forms. Then use linking words or phrases to compare and contrast. That means using linking words is very important for you to make your essay easy to follow or easy for the reader to read. Use a variety of comparative structure. Using a comparative structure, you can say it is the most and so on. Don't introduce new information in the conclusion. You just summarize the points you raised and conclude by making a general statement. Okay, now it's a compare and contrast essay plan. For the introduction, like you should make general statement, introduction, the topic of discussion, mention 2 things that you are going to compare, briefly state the aspects you will connect to your point or your comparison. About the main body paragraph, you have 3 main body paragraphs. In each one, you have 1 point of comparison, 2nd point of comparison, and the last point of comparison. Then about your conclusion, you are going to summarize the comparison you made and make a general statement to conclude. Let's start as an example for your, you can pause your video and start writing. This is helping phrases you can use to start writing. And now study the model text. This is a model for your writing to compare and contrast between self-studying and in-group studying. For the elements, what are the elements of the compare and contrast essay? For each paragraph, we have some elements. Elements, it means عناصر. The elements of the introduction, general statement, introducing the topic. Then the 2 things you are going to compare and contrast. The 3 aspects of comparison. Like here, you have studying is an important part of learning process. Then about 2 things that you are going to compare. While many people feel that group study is most effective, there are those who believe studying is best accomplished one. Okay? Studying alone. With this in mind, it is useful to examine the similarities and differences between group and individual study, especially in terms of efficiency, conventions, and skills. This is for the introduction. And what are the elements for the main body paragraphs? As the first one, you should present your topic sentence, the first point of comparison, then giving example and justification. You are going to use a comparative, you are going to use a compare and contrast, you are going to use how to make a comparative, you are going to use linking words, all these that you need to write your own main body paragraph. For example, both self-study and group study may be efficient study option. When studying alone, students have more control over how quickly or slowly they cover material, etc. Okay? About the second element or the second paragraph, the same, you are going to do the same, but you are going to present another point of comparison. Like, another point of comparison is that the convention self-study provides greater flexibility in terms of time and location than group study. For example, to present example and justification for your main argument. Like for the third one, you have the final both self-study and group study develop unique skills. And you give your justification and example to justify your own argument. For the conclusion, you just summarize the comparison. Don't provide any new ideas. Okay? This is about the conclusion. In conclusion, both group study and self-study can be efficient study methods. Students who are considering different study techniques should take into consideration their personal needs in terms of conventions and skills development. And now, write your own essay about study method. Okay, take your time and write your own essay, and we will receive your essay on your website, or we will discuss your own writing at your classroom, inshallah. But before we end our lesson today, this is for how can you check your own essay. Number one, follow instructions. I read and follow the instruction in the rubric carefully. I did some researches on the two study approach I am comparing. I noticed similarities or differences between the approach and identified 3 key points of comparison. For the formatting, I organized my text into paragraphs, including an introduction and conclusion. I followed the suggestion in the plan for what included different paragraphs of article. Then about the content, I made sure to discuss both approach in each main body paragraphs. I implied comparative form and adjectives like more, less, and other forms of comparison, for example, as, then adjective, adverb, as. I use formal linking words or phrases to connect ideas. I avoid using construction, for example, or ets, and other feature of informal writing. Your review, I correct any grammar, spelling, punctuation error. Then I made sure that my writing can be read easily. I hope that you can write your own topic, and we will receive your own writing at school or in your application. Now, as a closure for our lesson, write the elements of compare and contrast essay. Thank you very much for your listening. See you and goodbye.